Hello, everybody, and welcome to the North American Challengers League qualifiers, the Swiss stage for 2024, the first week, and we are covering a doozy here. You got Slayfire here on the commentating, Bonfire to my side. Before we get there, we've got the number 2 seeded Team Fish Taco on your blue side right now, and the red side is the Nameless, the 31 seeded team. Certainly, the two ends of the spectrum when it comes to seeding here, Bonfire. But man, how much fun is it going to be to watch this Team Fish Taco squad out on the Rift?
I am unbelievably excited. We weren't able to watch the draft in real time, so when you're seeing Jack's first pick, just know they're picking for the role. That's not actually a Jack's first pick. But I am excited to see some of these matchups, and I'll be honest, I have been consuming an unhealthy amount of professional League of Legends over the last couple of weeks, and this all pretty much goes according to plan. Been a lot of Casantes, a whole bunch of Azirs and Xin Zhaos, and Corki has been that kind of pick that snuck its way into the meta. I feel like Corki's never bad, but sometimes better than other times, and right now, very, very strong with the way the items are.
Certainly a big sort of change. I've seen a lot of Corki coming up, like you mentioned, in those Champions Queue streams, and we are seeing it come alive here. Got that Lucian Melio bottom lane as well. I know Lucian has been it's moved up a lot more high prio with some of the new itemizations. You talked about those Trinity Force builds have kind of gone down. There's been a lot more onus on the ability haste. Items, Navori Quick Blades, the fact that you can build a lot more of those items. There's not a mythical cap on itemization. It helps out a lot of those AD carries, and we're seeing that with Lucian here. Levitate and Snow, though, honestly, Bonfire, I just have to say, these guys back in the TA days, obviously they got a couple of wins close to a promotion. And it was interesting watching across Combine, especially the TFT Combine. I would always mention the joke like, oh, it's not Levitate and Snow together. They're playing against each other. Just wait until they get put together on a team. And what team do they end up on? Team Fish Taco. This bottom lane is deadly no matter how much less you think bottom lane is prioed in Season 14.
Yeah, they've been cooking since the Doyen Tony top days, so very, very excited to see these two together alongside their mid lane counterpart from those days as well, Sudsy. The thing that I'm curious about, that I'm not sure if it's been fixed yet, if they're playing on the new patch, but Melio and Lucian, one of those bot lane duos that likes to go double support item. It's been very strong. T1 kind of got the ball rolling in that regard. And it's just so annoyingly strong because it looks like, oh, they're down 20 CS, they're down a plate, yada, yada, yada. And then you look at the gold graph, and lo and behold, they're actually up gold. So it'll be interesting to see if they do decide to go that direction. But as a whole, I'm liking this TFT draft quite a lot.
Got to mention the team on the other side here. I am going to make the quick, I don't want to call it joke, but myself and Bonfire are big fans of the support of Nameless. PVS, he's a valued member of the Tier 3 scene. For at least us on the production side, he's a goated producer. But he has been, for the entire offseason, hoping, praying to get a shot at OQs with how highly regarded he is in the solo queue ladder. And the Nameless, the 31 seed team, have given him that shot. So I'm going to go a little bit off script. Usually you go top down. I'm going to go bottom lane up. Support is PVS making his appearance here in OQs. He's playing next sided is AD carry Hub, mid laner Adder, jungler a bit bad, who I believe myself and Bonfire, we remember from, I believe he was in Divine League, or he might have been, he played back in Divine League a couple splits ago. Now he's gotten his elo up high enough to play in OQs. Made it onto this team, and a top laner, Sama. So this team is the 31 seeded team, not as well known as, Hoarder, Limo, Sudsy on that Corki, Levitate, and Snow, but anything can happen in OQs, and that's kind of the joy and pride of it.
Yeah, and we've seen great teams collapse. I think this TFT team, obviously when they're ranked number 2, the expectation, go undefeated, make it into the Sweet 16, and, do it in pretty easy fashion. But we've seen with these OQs, you cannot write a single team off League of Legends, especially at the beginning of a new season. Just feels so unpredictable. A lot of these players have only had a couple of weeks to prepare on the new patch and to get used to the new items, the new map changes, the spawns, the jungle pathings, and so on and so on. So it'll be interesting to see if that plays a huge effect. I also think if we're looking at the draft, I was talking about how much I like TFT's draft, but Nameless, they've got the Azir, and I will say now that I think Azir is maybe the strongest champion in the game right now, bar none. It's just so
Okay.
incredibly good at doing late game damage with the new items. And honestly, it feels pretty overpowered at points. So it'll be interesting to see if the Azir can carry them to the finish line because they do have some good setup alongside it as well. So I'm setting some seeds of doubt potentially in your mind, Slayer. But realistically, TFT number 2 versus number 31, they hope this will be an easy game.
They are certainly hoping for that easy game there. Bonfire is, the extra quality of recording these games is the fact that we can just keep talking through the loading screen, actually. And I want you to talk a little bit more about the draft while I make sure to get everything set up client side here as I pull my producing play-by-play skills out to show everybody with this tournament.
Yeah, look, I want to give a quick shout out to Slayer and everybody else who's been producing and play-by-playing at the same time. Not an easy task, so big shout out there. But it does give me a chance to talk about something that I've been studying for over the last couple weeks, which is draft. And it's important to talk about some of these champions, right? The Cassante has found some strength again. I know fell off a little bit of the map at the end of last year's season, but very, very strong once again. Just a really, really good weak side top laner. You don't give him really any resources, and he'll still be a problem late game, unless he's going into a Rumble. But Rumble did get banned out, so the Cassante very strong pick as well. Jax has been seen flexed in the jungle, also AP Jax if you're a Baus enjoyer. But I think it's going to be the normal top AD Jax, the side lane threat, the menace. And then going over to the Caitlyn, I think Caitlyn has also been a very, very strong bot laner because of the strength of the lethality items. That's really what's been cooking in the bot lane. Lethality Misfortune, lethality Jhin. There was lethality Aphelios for a little bit. It's just kind of been the flavor of the month so far. And Caitlyn does best with lethality items, I think. It's lethality and crit. And right now she can one-shot low health squishies late game. So the thing with Caitlyn, it's the same this season as it always has been. If you don't get her going early, you're really never going to get her going. They need the push. That's why they drafted that Zyra. They need to get going in the bot lane early. TFT going to try to put a stop to that.
TFT certainly looking to put a stop to that here is we are ready to get going with this game, Bonfire. And, I don't have to wait to queue up a producer. I can queue myself up. So we'll get right into the game here. And here we go. Blue side has the TFT team. You saw them just get the draft done. And on the red side, you have the Nameless. The first game of 2024 on the hunt for a chance at glory in the North American Challengers League. And, of course, got to be cordial, Bonfire. You get the fan start.
Yeah, everybody starting on the same thing. I will say, I don't mean to put you on blast. Might want to drop the scoreboard. You're already or the time control.
I got it.
Yep. Mind. You got it. Hey, like I said, it's not an easy task, so I appreciate that. But we don't want any jump scares or surprises. We want everything to be in the moment. But you're already one step ahead of me, as it looks like everybody's going to be on the same step. Nobody going for any cheeky invades. You got to imagine the nerves maybe a little bit on their minds starting this OQ. I mean, for both of these teams, they have dreams of, for TFT, making it back to the NACL, and for Nameless, making that dream run. Look, if Lit can do it, why can't they?
Exactly. And, I got to talk to Sherv, who I got to give a shout out to because he's one of the big minds behind this Running the Rift OQ coverage. Talked about it in the combines. That the goal is to make it back to NACL. Anything short of that is a failure for the organization of Team Fish Taco. So keep that in mind as we go forward. And we're going to look at that bottom lane, Bonfire. You highlighted it really well on the Lucian Melio side. But the other side of this lane is also just going to be two different sides of how you want to play early game in the bottom lane.
Yeah, it feels like the Melio and the Lucian, maybe a little bit more reactionary. Obviously, Lucian very, very strong early, but alongside Emilio, I think is going to get pushed in a bit by this Zyra. The poke just so strong with Zyra and Caitlyn. You get hit by one root, you know that you're going to lose quite a bit of your health bar. That being said, I don't think there's a better all-in bot laner in the game right now than the Lucian. Feels like almost an assassin AD carry. And so if Hub and PBS are not careful, they could lose their lives and lose pretty much all of the advantage they have.
Certainly something you have to be careful about. It's the time tail of range versus all-in ability. A lot of bottom lanes match up that way. We got a mirrored jungle clear path thing going on as well between Alimo and a Bit Bad. Is Hoarder jump in? Just getting a light stun in there. Nothing too crazy yet. But I'm curious how you feel. You know, Xin Zhao has been a big presence with those item changes. He's gone up a lot in the meta. Are you liking mirrored clear for the Xin Zhao more here from a Bit Bad?
I mean, Xin Zhao just wants to fight at all points in time, early on, late game. He is a brawler. He wants to continuously be on the map and just battling. And so I like this, right? If you were going to fight this Sejuani, you're probably pretty happy. But right now he's deciding against it and instead going to help the bot lane, which I also like. You know, obviously not going against the Sejuani, like I was saying earlier, but is going to be able to help out the bot lane, which is important. And it goes into what I was talking about earlier. This Cassante just does not need that much help. And so you'd imagine Sama saying, look, help out the Caitlyn, help out the Zyra. They are going to be the late game insurance policy alongside the Azir.
Good trade there from Levitate, utilizing that dash well. Gets a ton of double shots down, really utilizing that Lucian passive. And that's a great way to just get so much bot lane pressure relief, because you saw there, Bonfire. Caitlyn with those Zyra plants just traps you under turret. Levitate gets out of it.
Yep, Levitate able to get some damage. The power of Melio as well, because without the cozy campfire, you're probably going to get outranged, but feeling pretty good, pretty safe, pretty warm, able to get some good damage on top of them with that alongside it, and then the shielding from Snow too, going to make sure it's good as well. I also want to draw attention to the itemization. It is not going to be the double support item for the Lucian alongside the Melio, but they might be in some danger here. A Bit Bad wants to go for a gank.
Call it Bonfire. He's coming down here. We flash top lane, though, where Hoarder's still going for these trades. Sama does get a good pushback. It does look like a Bit Bad did jump in, but Levitate able to stay safe. Snow does have to burn Flash, so they do get the support Flash for virtually nothing. But on the other side, Limo, perfect response, going to dive onto Sama here, gets the stun into the counter-strike. First blood for the first time goes Hoarder's way for Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, beautiful play right there, and it's just the difference in the jungling pathing. We're talking about how Bit Bad on this Xin Zhao wants to help out the bot lane, make sure that the Caitlyn is able to get going early. But a failed dive, or excuse me, a failed gank in the bot side means that all of that pressure, all of the pathing comes to nothing. And in the top side, it was a good try right there from Sama, right? Trying to use the ghost, trying to be able to dodge, evade on all of the CC, but Hoarder and Limo just have more than enough between them, and they pick up the first blood.
Gotta love that synergy. Hoarder and Limo played on TA together all last summer split. They're showing that consistency now. Limo not even giving away the big chicken, and he's going to keep chasing here. A Bit Bad, half HP, but they don't want to venture into that red side jungle. And we sit down at about the 5-minute mark with a 1,000 gold lead for TFT, and if you're Hoarder, it's got to feel so nice.
Yeah, it feels great for Hoarder because it just means that they're going to get even stronger even earlier. You know, I think we all know that the Jax is a late game menace, but what about the mid game? What about the early game? Not the strongest out of all the top laners, and so being able to get that early strength, super important, means that you're going to see a lot of Hoarder, and it means that this Caitlyn's going to really struggle because if Hoarder's able to get on top of them in this Fed, things get difficult. 10 CS advantage for Hoarder. Going to try to proxy the wave right now.
I love it.
And keep that, yeah, it keeps that advantage high.
And also, it creates so much pressure on him, and you could see the new addition to the Rift. We're not going to see it, but Limo is on top of those Void Grubs right now. And I think the most busted mid-game part of the game are those Void Grubs. But look at this. Hoarder's not going to have to pay. All out comes across. Good double stun with the counter-strike. A lot of damage down. A Bit Bad, half HP. Limo has arrived as well. Flash forward.
Ooh.
The W doesn't find a Bit Bad just yet. And he's able to trade Limo. Everybody coming to the fight. Big Shurima shuffle from Adur. And now it's all on Sunsy. Out of mana. Just trying to auto through. Good flash away. One more rocket.
Ooh.
What a shot from Sunsy. Finds a double kill, and it goes 2 for 2 at the end of the day.
Ends up going 2 for 2. It looked like a disaster, but Sudsy saving the day, making sure that it's not so bad. But still, I mean, if you are this squad, it's actually 2 for 3 when you look at it. TFT not winning out, losing more members than they gained right there, and they invested quite a bit. They are not happy about that as Levitate continues to go in. Still have the 500 gold advantage, but man, the strength of Xin Zhao, you just saw it right there, able to get so much damage across.
But look at this. Limo immediately runs back towards those Void Grubs. I know everyone in the community has been debating their name. I really like the Jerry's. I think the Jerry's is funny.
I like Kevin's.
Kevin's is also good. Regardless, Limo grabbed all three of the first Void Grubbians for his squad. We'll go with the Kevins for you, Bonfire, which are huge. I mean, talk to me about how massive they are just for power spiking early.
Oh, they're incredibly massive, Slayer. And the thing is, when you've got three, they're big, especially with a Jax. If somehow Limo can get all six, it's an absolute game changer. I feel like people are kind of underrating how strong they can be when compared to Dragons. But if you get all six, you can absolutely decimate towers. I've seen inhibitor turrets gone by 15 minutes if you're just able to get a good push across with a Rift Herald. So it really puts a lot of pressure on Sama to not take a bad trade, not take a bad base. And heavens forbid, if you die, your tower is completely shredded.
Yeah, Jax with, those extra Void Grubs coming across. Oh boy, that is a recipe for disaster here. But for the Nameless, they do have a bit of a area to look forward to, positively here. You've got this Azir, like you talked about, Adder, 1-0-1, getting some gold early to be that late game menace, and a bit bad, going to have some high damage early with that Tiamat completed. So never hate mid-jungle getting ahead on any team, especially a team looking to make an upset early in this Swiss stage.
Yeah, and they've got the Azir ahead, like you said. That is critically important. Able to get some of those items early. 3-item Azir at this point feels like an absolute menace. I know Azir has always been that kind of champion, but especially now with the items, you're able to just shred through some of the lower health members. And honestly, you can get through some of the higher health tanks as well. So you got to be careful about the Azir. However, that being said, with the 2 kills with the CS advantage, it is Sudsy who has that first item advantage. And so if you do see the Azir roam over, you can't look at the 1-0-1 scoreline. You have to look at the item components. You have to favor that Corki.
Yeah, Eclipse, I mean, any lethality item is all about spiking early and doing a ton of damage. Now we got a dance coming across towards this Drake. Everyone obsessed with the Jerrys, and now those are gone. So everyone's trying to get towards this first Drake coming across here. Limo and a bit bad hovering. Mid lane roam first goes to Sudsy, but nobody really pulling the trigger just yet.
Yeah, I think everyone's a little bit too worried. You don't want to lose the game off of a single bad dragon spawn. So they're deciding against it. They're deciding instead to catch waves. And I think it does make sense, as a bit bad wants to fight for sure. But like I was saying earlier, this Azir, this Caitlyn probably want to wait just a little bit longer, especially into a Lucian and a Corki with item advantage. And so both teams kind of just dancing around right now. Corki just backing. Has to wait for that package. Once the package spawns, that's when you'd imagine TFT really wants to press the go button.
Great point to make there. I almost forget about the package because how much Corki fell off the meta towards the end of 2023 here. Also good there from a bit bad. You saw me cleared out a lot of blue side vision around that Drake pit. The bot side is controlled well by PVS and Hub as well. And now he's even getting a bit of an invade in here, but Limo might find him out.
Yeah. And Limo's got the Jax much, much closer. Look at where this Cassante is. Does end up being a fight. They could potentially pick him off. They're pinging it right now. And here comes the Corki. This could be a disaster from a bit bad, because that would for sure mean that you lose any neutral objectives. And just look at your mini-map. We've got a Tom and Jerry happening right now.
Yep, Sudsy's here first. There is the ult drop from Bitbad, trying to block some of the damage out from Sudsy, but he's just on the wrong side of the rift. He is as good as dead. An overstep from Bitbad. 3 kills now in the hand of Sudsy, and likely that Drake falling for TFT.
It does mean that they have to use the package. That is a package well spent. That's UPS same-day delivery, baby. You are happy about that one. Means you're going to get your Christmas present a little bit early. I still am waiting on some of my Christmas presents because I'm terrible at buying them. But Sudsy, not so bad himself. Able to ensure that he gets another kill in his pocket. And I was talking about how strong Azir is. Corki is no slouch for scaling. And at this point, at 3-1, you have to imagine this Corki's going to start hitting like a truck earlier and later.
And look at this. Who cares about Drakes when you've got the Jerrys? These are the Jerrys, Bonfire. And the nightmare scenario here for the Nameless in the mid-game has been realized. That is all 6 Void Grubs going the way of TFT. They now have those guys popping out anytime they go to slap a turret around. And it's just going to accelerate this kind of minute gold lead TFT have through 12 minutes.
Yeah, and if I am Limo right now, I'm thinking I need to come top often and early, because that is really where the strength's going to be. He's going to, if you look at mid lane, Sudsy's going to hit it once and boom, just tick, tick, tick. That was one auto, by the way, on the turret. Takes an entire plate. Holy moly.
Okay.
Shout out the Jerry's. Sudsy might be in some danger, but he should be able to just get away. He has flash.
Yeah, Ador does not pull the trigger for a Shrima Shuffle. Still chasing down. BitBad doesn't get that W proc down, and Sudsy is just safe. PVS's roam comes up just short. And it's just going to allow Snow and Limo now to clear out all that great bot side vision we talked about. They might get wrapped here. On the enemy side, Snow and Limo both waiting. Going to be spotted out here. Adder in the area, going to get knocked up. Limo looks like he wants to fight, but he won't pull the trigger any longer. But now they've once again caught a BitBad, drops the Glacial Ultimate from Limo. A BitBad trying to turn it. Zyro Ultimate going to come out as well. Sudsy just trying to poke away from distance. Both junglers in sticky situations, and they both end up out.
Yeah, everybody kind of in a weird spot, very disjointed. You saw a BitBad kind of behind enemy line, Secret Agent, able to get out right there. A lot of ultimates used, some summoners, but at the end of the day, nobody falls. In the top side, it is just a tough one for Sama. That was one trade. Porter hasn't backed yet. And, wow, able to just take so much right there, probably sitting on a ton of gold. The question is, does Sama really want this fight? Porter's giving him a thumbs up. He says, great, you can ghost at me for all you want. I do not care. And I was talking about how Cassante is pretty okay being by himself. It's getting rough right now for this Cassante with all of those Void Grubs, with a couple of kills going over, some assists. Hoarder is absolutely dominating in the top side now, and it's only going to get worse.
It is certainly not going to get much prettier going forward here. Pop that Ghost as well in that trade, just trying to chase down Hoarder. A BitBad does end up grabbing that first Drake, and it feels weird compared to the Season 13 Bonfire with the Grubbians, how less prio the Drakes are. You know, I feel like last season, first Drake going down at 13 and a half minutes was such a rarity.
Yeah, I think first Drake is not nearly as important as it used to be. Obviously, getting the soul still very, very strong, but it just feels like the dragon stacking has really been pushed off because of those Grubbians, like you were talking about. People want to fight over that. People want to really prioritize topside as we look topside. I am Sama, a BitBad. Want to have something to say about this.
Yeah, Hoarder's got a lot of passive stacks. Those autos are going to start rolling, and he just pops a BitBad. There you go. The Jack's online. Limo, they've got him cornered. Sama falls. A double up for Hoarder in the top side.
Yeah, it is a disaster. And I know you're an AD carry main, my friend. You look in the bot side for Nameless, and as an AD carry fan, you probably know this feeling. I'm 0-0-0. My support's 0-0-0, and we are down 3,000 gold. It's just been really tough right now, and it comes down to a difference of strategies as well, right? We were talking about how it feels like, you know, with this Cassante, they just want to help try to play through bot side. You've seen a BitBad in the bot side quite a lot, but Levitate and Snow 2 have played safe. They've done their job. They've survived, gotten themselves just pretty much even with their counterpart, and it's ensured that it's allowed Limo to go more towards the top side, and that's really where they're getting advantages.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big supporter of the idea that solo lanes are the biggest point of emphasis in Season 14, bigger than any of the last couple of seasons, and TFT's bringing me home with that one so far. Both of their solo laners sporting bounties, 3 kills apiece on each of them. Sudsy and Hoarder are going to be a big problem. A BitBad, though, trying to play that bot side like the Nameless have been showing all game long, really. But nothing to come of it, and now they're down that turret as well.
Yeah, you got to give credit to Snow, too. I feel like on this Melio has really just dissuaded any single attempt for a fight. Every time they want to go do something, every time you do see a BitBad on this is Zalcom bot, it has been the Snow 2 show in Hoarder. Are you really going to do him like this? A 2v1, he likes those odds.
Double stun into the ultimate. Goodbye, Hub. He didn't even have a chance in the world. Hoarder on a killing spree. PVS having to run away, but Hoarder, he's not done with him. Limo, Glacial Prison is up. PVS flashes already, knocks the ultimate. It's just seamless. Welcome to the Swiss stage, Team Fish Taco.
Yeah, Team Fish Taco is absolutely frying right now, Slayer. Making this look like it's their OQ to win, or really their OQ to lose, I suppose. Absolute decimation at the moment, 8-3 in kills. But really, it's across the map at the turrets you need to keep an eye on. They've got the top turret, they've got the bot turret, they've just got a bot second-tier turret. BitBad losing a 2v1 to Levitate and Snow 2, just trying to stop them from taking the mid lane turret. As a whole, it has been a macro explosion for TFT.
Now they've even got Levitate, who we talked about. They were on weak side duty. He's got a bounty. He's got a 0 stat line. And rocking a bounty on that Lucian. That has to feel good. Hoarder's feeling even better, though. Does get shoved back towards the Nameless, but no root coming across there from PVS. And that's the Hoarder tax you have to pay, ulting him away from your big-time carries.
My friend, the Hoarder tax probably going to start feeling like a full year salary soon, because this is a 5-1 Jax. It's a very, very strong Jax. And again, we said this before, Jax late game, very scary. If you can get a Jax ahead, it is even scarier. It just doesn't really take a lot of damage, and as soon as one of those counter strikes lands onto you, you can you go get a glass of water, use the bathroom, because you're not going to be alive for quite a while.
Got that Trinity Force and that Titanic done. And, you know, Jax, we talked about how some of these champions in the new meta have benefited from the fact that there's no mythics, so you can build a bunch of new items you couldn't throw together before. I feel like Jax is one of those people. There's just so much more online. And, I mean, you mentioned it. It's just kind of the Hoarder show right now, and I don't want it to overshadow how well these other lanes have been playing.
No, look, man. League of Legends is a team game, right? Obviously, when you have one person who's very far ahead, it's where your eyes are going to drift towards. But you really can't point towards anybody playing poorly, as Sudsy could be in some difficulty. Has to burn the package. Not really amazing, but I guess they're up 6,500 gold. So they're not really too worried. And they do see PVS up there, which means they can continue their push mid.
Yep. And they're just rallying into a bit bad. Whiffed Glacial Prison, though, from Limo, so they won't go for the dive here. Crescent Guard also coming out from a bit bad, so Jungler's ult traded. Sama once again pops the ghost, tries to show up to the party. He's like, I'm too late again.
I know. Sama, late to the party. Look, he just wants to go fast. Can anyone blame him? But unfortunately, it's not really advised. Sama burning another summoner with no usefulness, I suppose. And it looks like TFT is going to get this second dragon, which, honestly, it did feel like the dragon stacking was the only potential way that Nameless could, kind of claw their way back into this mid-game. Now they just have to wait and hope for a potential pick, a misslip, a misstep from somebody on TFT, because they're not going to be given anything.
Yeah, it's just so hard to see them finding an avenue right now, the Nameless. Especially because, like you talked about, six Void Grub stacks just means if you give up just a little bit too much time to either of these solo lanes on the split push, it's at least that tier 2 down. It might even be the base knocked open, because this Corki and Jax are two of the best split pushers in the game.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, because that is the strength of the Void Grubs. You can't really go for fights. Able to get away from Hoarder right there. You can't really overload one side of the map because of the split pushers. Now, right now, nobody's in the bot side. We have a completely empty bot side, but if there was somebody in the bot side, that's where you would have to be concerned. And Lima wants to battle. They want to tussle. They know that they have the gold lead. They are pushing them out of their own jungle.
Yeah, Limo confident, knows he can go wherever he wants. So does Hoarder. Gets a stun a bit bad. He is getting burned down really quickly. A lot of great healing. The Cozy Campfire keeps Hoarder safe. Limo thrown under turret from the all-out, but Sama doesn't have enough damage in the tank. Limo is far too tanky and will just walk away. TFT can go wherever they please on the map right now.
Yeah, but I will say, signs of life right there from Nameless. At the end of the day, they did quite a bit of damage. They knocked Hoarder and Limo down to pretty low health bars, blinking health bars even. So it goes to show, if you ignore this Caitlyn, if you let this Caitlyn and this Azir free, bad things will happen. The question is, how much longer can this Cassante and this Xin Zhao just tank for? Because right there, they tanked quite a bit of damage, and it still was kind of close.
Certainly did end up pretty close. It's kind of like the litmus testing, right? When you get pretty far ahead, it's like, how far can we go, Bonfire, before you really get punished? And it got close, like you said, but no dice just yet, and with one reset, they're back to the same shenanigans.
Yep, clearing out vision, taking damage onto the top in tier 2. Sama just trying to survive, and a bit bad. My friend, that is not your jungle anymore. They don't really have the damage to back up on it, and a bit bad. Actually fairly tanky with the way that his build is gone, so they feel pretty comfortable. But I don't know, man. If that Caitlyn shot tells you anything, it's that Caitlyn's pretty far behind. That was a headshot onto Limo that did not crack the shield. Slightly concerning.
Yep, and oh boy, a bit bad. Once again caught. Hoarder, one more hop, flashes to secure it. Goodbye, a bit bad. Kill found, and what does he get on the top side? Last tier 2 knocked down. The rest of TFT now, they've set their sights on the new Baron Nashor.
Yeah, I mean, call them Dr. Gray, because they are surgical with it right now. It really feels like they're not leaving anything up to interpretation. They don't want people to watch this match and say something. Hoarder should
Ooh.
be fine from this, you'd imagine.
Ace in the hole, not enough damage. Ador, not enough damage. Hoarder, alive once more. And just casually on the other end, bearing to go over to TFT. The Nameless, they just want to get some gold back on those shutdowns, but all they'll find is they're in a bigger hole than they were 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, I don't really have much of an analysis for that. Hoarder just did not take enough damage. And I think if there's one thing to be said about that, it's that this Azir, for as strong as a late game Azir can be, they're not there yet. That was an Azir free hitting a Jax for quite a while, and the Jax was pretty comfortable that entire time. Now a free item Jax, very, very far ahead of really anybody else in the game. I guess only parried by this Corki. So this Jax is going to be, hell to pay. Because you can't really poke them out, and once the Jax gets on top of you, bad things are going to happen. As you see, the Azir ultimate pretty much just on cooldown being used for Hoarder.
This game is certainly slipping away into the hands of TFT, which does give us some time to talk about some of the new itemization changes, unless Limo just wants to try and end the game right here. Bit bad, poking him down, but Limo is 2 items strong on the Sejuani tank. Good luck trying to kill Limo. Crescent Guard out a bit bad, doesn't want to eat any more of those rockets. Bot side Hoarder, just casually 2v1ing here. I'm curious if he'll try and litmus test for Sama and Adder. He's thinking about it, but he's once again just playing decoy. Another good counter-strike. The all-out comes through for Sama, just trying to chase Hoarder down, but I don't even know if he wins this one. Hoarder goes for the turn. Grandmaster's Might for extra defenses, and he'll walk right away, but look what it's doing to the rest of the base.
Yeah, they're losing so much in the mid lane right now. That it's what they have to do, right? You have to go for these plays, get that massive shutdown potentially off of Hoarder, but this is going to mean that they're going to lose quite a bit for it, and they're going to have to back up with these low health bars and probably concede this inhibitor as well. Bot side, they're getting that push in with Hoarder. This Jack's really not too concerned about anybody, and Hoarder actually did just take it back and teleport in. I am Sama. Goodbye, my friend.
Look at all the Grubbians and the Baroned up minions. This game is soon to fall here. TFT certainly had a lot of high expectations, especially when their roster got announced, and through one game of their quest for the NACL, they have shown that they are here to play. A bit bad, eats in their glacial prison. Cozy Campfire with that ult from Snow keeps Limo safe, and the siege just continues at merciful pace.
Yeah, I honestly think that they can end soon. A bit bad, very low. Pretty much everybody a bit low. There's PBS's Flash. I mean, they're just continuing to push it. Levitate. Oh my goodness.
Levitate's starting to step further forward than he wants to. There's a great rocket from Sudsy. He wants to pad his stats a bit more. One fleeting stream and shuffle from Adder. Goodbye, and goodbye to the base. And game number 1 for the Nameless. Number 2 seeded TFT start out nearly perfect on their quest for the NACL.
Yeah, just an absolute slaughter right there. And again, you look at the kills and you're thinking 13-3. I've come back from worse in my solo queue games, but they perfectly snowballed that game. They got the turrets, they got the dragons, they got the grubbies, which we talked about. They got themselves the W. It was the Hoarder show, but really everybody came to have an act. Everybody got their due. And TFT start 1-0. Pretty good start from the NACL hopefuls.
Great start nonetheless, and now we'll take a look at those post-game stats here, because we got to make sure to cover the stats too, Bonfire, so everybody gets an idea of how this game went down. I mean, I'm asking for a synopsis here, my lovely co-caster, but I think I know an idea of what you're going to say about this one.
I mean, it just comes down to, I guess, the priority where both teams lied. Caitlyn and Zyra, it was obviously shown that they wanted to put a huge emphasis on the bot lane, and it just didn't really end up working out. Levitate and Snow were too savvy for it. They did not give up their lives. They went to maybe a little bit of a minor CS deficit, but it really didn't end up mattering. And then in the top side, it was the Limo Hoarder show, making so much happen with the grubbies and the damage and the pushing and yada, yada, yada. Sudsy also getting involved as well. And they were able to just do so much damage to objectives. Jeez. So, Limo and Hoarder.
So I'm curious. I wondered. I want to see this. Because Limo was the one to get all the Grubbians, does it factor in his... does it give him the damage that the Void Grubs did to turrets? Because that is 40k damage to turrets in a 24-minute game.
That is a good question. I will say I did see that Hoarder picked up the last of the Grubbians.
Okay.
I kind of took a glimpse at it. So my guess would be Rift Herald would be my guess. But it is quite a bit. It's a pretty crazy difference in the charts. as we just kind of take a look at everything, and it's making me reconsider some of these picks. I was talking so highly on the Azir, the Zinzao, and the Cassante, and really fell flat. But look, man, you can have the best picks in the world. Sometimes it is a bit of a team difference. I'm just not. I'm not going to mince words there. And TFT got it done.
TFT do end up getting this one done, Bonfire. It's not conventional way that we are used to casting, but it's been a fun one. Whoever watched through this one to see the absolute slapfest, thank you for watching through. Make sure to check out Running the Rift as well on the rest of the YouTube channel to look at most of all the OQ coverage here. And hey, if you stick around, I'm sure you'll see another video of myself and Bonfire covering more of this awesome slate with a quest to the GSL round of the NACL qualifiers. But for now, we bid you adieu, and hopefully we'll see you guys in another video.